Hello, that was the Rocketeer flying. Huge movie fanatic Nate coming at you for some breaking news. As far as I know, this news is actually maybe just a day or 2 days old or something like that. So this might be the first time you're hearing this. You might be hearing it from me for a change instead of like 6 weeks later from me after hearing it from everyone else. But at any rate, we just got some news here at the old Huge Movie Fanatics office. Not that there's an office of Huge Movie Fanatics, but anyway, let me get on to it. The news is kind of whatever, so I'm kind of putting off actually saying it, as you can tell. So anyway, let's get on to the news. So, I'm a big fan, if you've seen my review for the movie Rocketeer that I did, I'm a big fan of the Rocketeer. I mean, when I was, in my early teens, it was my first favorite movie ever. I think I saw it like, I don't know, 6 or 7 times in the theater. It's still one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love the era. And, that era in, California, Southern California, and aviation, all that stuff really goes so well together for me. I don't know why, just because the Howard Hughes era and all this and that, Hollywood, and just the music of the time. I thought the movie Rocketeer was just a perfect blend of just so many things, gorgeous, pin-up Jennifer Connelly, whatever her name was in the movie, Jenny Blake, and it was just slam bang perfect. With the exception of maybe that, the flying scene in the, what was it? South Seas Club was kind of, that action scene was that wasn't perfect. But anyway, so long story short, I'm a fan of the Rocketeer. So much so that, I bought this in 1991, this little figure from Applause, and I still kept the Applause tag and the Applause blue thing. This is exactly how it was in the store in 1991, so that's as is. So basically what I'm coming at you today for is basically it should be exciting. I guess it's kind of half exciting and half frustrating news about a possible Rocketeer sequel / reboot coming, which is just kind of really weird because the movie, I think, reportedly made like $6 million over its budget or something like that. It was financially not very successful movie. I mean, thanks in part to Robin Hood and especially Terminator 2 that came out a few weeks later and just slaughtered the competition. But anyway, it's weird that they're thinking about doing a sequel / reboot to a movie that kind of bombed, but whatever. Hollywood's fucking crazy, and stupid, so they do stupid and crazy shit. So word is that, like I said, Rocketeer might actually get a sequel / reboot, but the weird thing about this movie, so much like the trend has been lately with reboots or reimagining of things like movies which came out like, I don't know when it was, 2004 or 5, the Honeymooners movie, which featured a black cast replacing the normally white cast and stuff like that. So it's possible, or they're throwing around the idea of the Rocketeer sequel / reboot having a black woman / girl as the basically the Rocketeer hero, or the main star, from what I can understand. Now, they're calling this movie at this point the Rocketeers, which is kind of a cool, it's kind of like Aliens, the Rocketeer, then the second one is the Rocketeers, but it's kind of a cool title for a sequel to the Rocketeer, actually, and the idea obviously kind of, suggests that in the sequel there might be more than one rocket pack and more than one Rocketeer, very much like with Iron Man and Iron Patriot and all that nonsense and stuff. I mean, obviously, ever since Iron Man came out, everyone's been comparing, like Iron Man to Rocketeer and saying they should remake Rocketeer, and which I was just like, no, because it's freaking perfect, except for maybe the non-perfect South Seas Club action scene. But I'm like, no. So initially, when I heard this, about the replacing Cliff with the black woman / girl, I was just like, oh man, Hollywood, just give me a break. But if this is a sequel, I guess, if it was a remake, I guess I'd have more of a problem with it. But if it's a sequel, I guess it's not really replacing Cliff with a black woman, because it's a sequel, so it's fair game, So The thing that's been the trend, obviously, that's been going on in Hollywood lately is, with all this gender shit and race shit. I talked about in my, whatever, Ghostbusters, I can't remember what that video is called, that Ghostbusters, I can't remember what it's called, but I did a Ghostbusters video where I just, I urge people not to see it. Same thing with this. I mean, it's kind of like just whatever, and it kind of, yeah. So like I say, if it had been a remake, I'd be a little more pissed off. But obviously, if it's a sequel, it's kind of free reign to do whatever the hell they want to do. I mean, obviously, black girls can be cute as well. So I mean, I guess I'd rather have it be a black girl than a black guy, just because I'm a heterosexual male, and I'd rather look at a girl of whatever nationality. There's beautiful girls, women in any nationality, of course, and. But very much like the recently, that's what I was saying, and I got off on a sidetrack. The recently, rebooted, whatever you want to call it, Ghostbusters, which just by the trailers, I mean, I almost want to just barf looking at the trailers and just, stuff like that. So, obviously, needless to say, I haven't seen the 2016 Ghostbusters, so, but I just wanted to stop by, and being a huge Rocketeer fan, of the movie. I mean, I don't really read comics, but I mean the drawings that Dave Stevens did are just amazing and stuff like that, But, being a Rocketeer fan of the movie, I thought I'd, try to break this news more or less, as quick as possible after it materialized. I mean, it's still in early development, so with any luck, this thing will fall through and just fizzle before it happens. I guess. Oh, by the way, it says it's taking place in the same era. From what I read online, it says 6 years after the events of the Rocketeer, which was 1938. So that's cool. I mean, I give it huge props for taking place 6 years later, obviously in the 40s, still that, amazing era and whatever. So, if it took place now, I mean, I'd be like, oh gosh, are you kidding me? But having it take place 6 years later sounds cool. Apparently, Cliff Secord has, vanished when he went off to fight the Nazis and all this crap. Obviously, Bill Campbell being whatever, much more old, he's not going to reprise the role or appear in any way, minus any CG younging. You know how they made, what's his name, in last year, and what the hell was it? Ant-Man. Michael Douglas made him younger with like CG. I mean, they could do that with Bill Campbell, or just have the helmet on him. Hell, it doesn't matter what the hell he looks like. But anyway, obviously Bill Campbell is probably not going to be a part of this movie if this movie gets made. So I'm divided on the news. Like I say, I was much more back when I thought it was like a remake. I was more, and I would have been more pissed. Had it been a remake of the Rocketeer, and completely flipping the gender and the not that the race matters, but it's just it's just Hollywood. It's Hollywood's little tactic of trying to stir the pot and shit. So, but when I thought more about it last night and this morning, I'm like, well, I found out this news last night right before bed. I didn't have any nightmares about it, not that I can remember. And I thought, well, if it's a sequel, I mean, they're really. Have free reign. You really can't complain about any casting choices, really, if it's a sequel, so whatever. Obviously, I'd be very interested, if they do go the black girl route, obviously I'd be interested in seeing who they cast. Obviously, there's many, like I say, many attractive black women out there, obviously, just like there is with any race whatsoever, so whatever. The notion of calling it the Rocketeers again, I think, is kind of a good idea. Obviously, as I said, hinting towards the possibility of more than one jetpack and more than one Rocketeer in the movie, which is kind of a cool idea. Whatever, So I guess if it's a sequel and not a remake, I guess I'm open to seeing what the hell they come up with. Obviously, it'd be interesting to see who does the music. Because one of the most amazing things about the movie Rocketeer was James Horner's amazing, I mean, that's probably my favorite James Horner score that I've heard. I mean, the music in that movie is, makes you weep. So, in a lot of ways, I don't want them to touch Rocketeer anymore. I just want my one movie. I don't want Hollywood to ruin it. Not that, not that stuff that comes out after the fact really ruins the original for me, but part of me wants them to just leave it alone and not, do any more Rocketeer at all. But the Rocketeer fan of me says, well, what, especially if it takes place in the 40s, maybe there's some other cool stuff they could do, and, maybe it wouldn't be a complete, waste. So feel free to let me know what you think about, Rocketeer sequel / reboot with Black Woman, Like I say, if it's not a remake, I guess they're free reign to do whatever they want with Black Woman as the hero. I mean, I guess a white man's been the hero, so it's a black woman's turn. I'm really kind of disgusted with Hollywood and whatever. So, I mean, what's next? Like a frickin' telling of the story about that, black woman on the back of the bus with a white guy in the part? I can't remember what her name was. It Rosa Parks? Rosa Parks story, starring George Clooney as Rosa Parks. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to let me know what you think about the Rocketeer sequel / reboot in the comments. Let me know what you think about my cool retro Applause figure from the summer of 1991 that features the Applause logo thing and the price tag still on it. I guess I should probably go like this to really give you guys a... Oh, hell. He's floating right now, that's why he's... But this is the Applause Rocketeer. This is the best version that came out, I think, in that summer, at least that I saw. It's okay. What I hated about all the figures and toys that came out at the time was they got the color of his jacket wrong. I mean, it's not this color in the movie, but the Rocket Pack's pretty cool. I like it how the jacket's kind of open. That strap should be brown, but they're too lazy to. It's like that strap there. That strap should be brown, but they're too lazy to paint it. But this is Cliff. Here's the Applause thing and the tag. But this is his butt. Cool pocket flaps. But this is a Rocketeer figure that came out summer '91. So yay. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you next time.